Hello everybody, bit of a different video today, not your typical Command and Conquer kind of content, and this is for a good reason, because I'm still fiddling with this, I was in fact wanting to make a video about Peace Walker, but it was for a different topic, but that video is still coming. I will be making that. However, for today, I was gonna talk briefly about Peace Walker and Peace Walker being remade. Now there are a lot of reasons why, and they've nicely coincided with one another. There's obviously the Master Collection that's released and the horrendous state that's also been put out in. There's the fact that MGS3 is getting remade, which I may or may not get, who knows. There's the fact that people have been wanting a remake, or at least something to do with Peace Walker, because it is an enjoyable but flawed game, and I know that that applies to a very wide catalogue of content. But regardless, this game specifically has perhaps some more obvious aspects that it does suffer from, especially with the story, the parts of the gameplay, blah 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 blah. But the video that made me really want to dive in and thoroughly explain why Peace Walker would really benefit for a remake, there was a video made by a Draken V or Draken 5. I'm not even sure how the hell he's supposed to interpret that, but regardless, he briefly described for about 10 minutes his views on a Devil May Cry 1 remake. And he also kind of meant the series in general, but he did look at DMC 1 specifically because it suffers the most because of it being the first game in the franchise. It's not at all nearly as in depth as DMC 3, 4, 5, and I do know that because I've played a lot. I'm also a DMC fan and shit like that, but that's kind of besides the point. I did see that video. That was the final nail in the coffin, and I thought that this would be high priority to at least get my views out there. But, however, where to begin? Well, everybody knows, or at least people who are somewhat abreast of Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear as a series, as a franchise rather, they know that it's over 13 years old. That is insane. I didn't think it was that old. Also, when I started playing this game, I played it on the HD collection. I didn't even buy the PS Vita or whatever it was on. I didn't buy it on that original console. I bought it on the HD collection re-release on Xbox specifically. And I specifically bought it as well because of Peace Walker. Now, I didn't know at the time that it also came with Metal Gear 1 and 2, but Peace Walker was the game that I had not played before, so that's why I justified buying it. As much as I enjoyed playing it, yeah, it has issues. I have also recently gone and looked at other people's reviews from a while ago, and they've described the sort of similar things where the gameplay is extremely fun once you've basically completed the story up to the fake ending, and then you've got all these like mini games of sorts to go through. Yeah, you do unlock them as you go and play the game, but you get to the really interesting ones when you go later in the game. Yes, this game, with all of its content, is impressive for being on a tiny device that you carry with you. What I'm trying to get at is that one reason why this game needs a remake are the boss fights. I'm talking about both main and side ops. They are essentially, goes into the same unit or same few selection of units, and they become bullet sponges, and they are only in a few select areas. Again, impressive for the time, but when I experienced it, it was kind of meh. You do get to see the repetitiveness of the same few tanks and in the same few arenas. For example, when you play the game enough, you will get in a daylight stage, you get that in a nighttime stage, and I think you get another daylight stage, but it's custom this time. So, it does really stretch the content out a lot because you're doing basically the same battle over and over again. And it's disappointing when you go and get that tank name custom. I think it's safe to assume that you would think, oh, well, actually, if it's custom, does that mean it's a lot harder? Well, I'll need to prepare my breasts then for this fight, and you'll spend a lot of time grinding, getting the required materials, weapons, gear, fucking rations or whatever. You go in, you quickly realize that it's the same tank, except it takes more damage, and either the enemies have machine guns or shotguns, or they have rocket launchers. The rocket launcher ones are quite annoying, but they're not difficult, it's just tedious. And that's quite disappointing. They had the custom. When you get like any kind of boss that gets its own custom level, right? You know, and I'm not talking about the level itself being custom. The name itself has a custom suffix added to it, so it gives it that supposed level of this extra specialness, right? But it's just another copy-paste unit. There's nothing new. There is absolutely nothing new. So one thing that I would like from this remake is for the custom versions of the boss battles, which include everyone, not just the tanks or the APCs or whatever. I'm talking about also the AI weapons, including Peace Walker as well. I want them to have new attacks. I really do. That makes it so much more interesting. Because yes, like for example, like the AI, at least they tried to do something a little more. They had the Tank 2 variants, but it was still essentially the same boss. It was just, you know, maybe a little faster, hit a little harder, and it had a bit more of a health pool, but otherwise nothing substantially different. But if you're going up against an enemy that has custom in its name, you should, like, how it went to my head, for example, I'm going to encounter the same enemy on the outside, but when I go and fight it, I'll probably have a lot of new moves that I'll have to learn for that fight specifically, not for the normal variant. So this one makes it a lot harder, because I'll have a different moveset to learn. Obviously, there will be some attacks that both should use, but majoritively, the custom variant should be a lot different. It should have quite a few new tactics to have to be used to defeat it, you know? You work towards this point, and it doesn't feel very rewarding. You do it because it's fun. And occasionally you get that level of progression, but again, it's not that rewarding. Try and put more focus on the custom boss battles. I feel like they're underrated. They're really important for this sort of thing, because it helps with progression so much. But anyway, now on to the other bit. Story does need a bit of a rework. Does that mean that there should be like re-recording lives and stuff? Probably. It's just, the story is serviceable for what it is. It really is serviceable, but I think when I came back to it, it was somehow worse than when I originally played it, because you go do the story, and then it's somewhat emotionally gratifying. I felt that it having the boss in again wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just executed pretty poorly, right? Because the snake's asking the same fucking questions as he did last time, and you had a missed opportunity there, a really good missed opportunity. But anyway, regardless, story does need a bit of a rework. Paz just deciding, oh no, I don't like you, actually, I'm just going to steal your giant metal dong and fight you with it. It's like, well, it's just all of a sudden, I've got no fucking build up to it. No clue that she was going to be the villain. Could have been done better. Absolutely could have been done better. I understand that there would have been a lot of significance with her character and shit, but it was just done poorly. Like, there's nothing to that, right? I do remember one of the videos that I saw about one of Peace Walker's remakes. Someone in the comments said, oh, you know, it would have been cool if when you fought Sadornov, you could have like a mini boss fight with him as well. You know, like when you go on the search missions, except it's on the very last one when you don't actually get given a mission, and it's in that place, and it's like, oh, you could have done a boss battle there instead of it just being, oh, well, I found you, bang, and you're dead. Yeah, I would agree with that, actually. It would have been, again, a little more interesting then, because you're building up to a climax sort of thing. But there is more. I would like it to have more stuff come beforehand, some more seeds planted to allude to something else going on, because again, I'm trying not to mention too much because I know there's going to be some people that have somehow not played the game and stuff like that. But you know, you reach the fake ending. You think you're wrapped up, but obviously there has been stuff built up before that ending that makes you go, hang on, there's still some things left to experience. There are still some loose ends about, you know? So that is one reason you'll keep playing. One. And obviously the other being you want to continue to develop your mother base and your weapons and shit like that. But yeah, the story does need a bit of a rework, to be fair. It is fine. Could have been way better though, and you'd play, you know, about you could just play up to when you destroy Peace Walker, and you'd probably get the idea. You didn't even need to do the entire game. But anyway, you know, that rant aside, that is essentially what I'm wanting. Hopefully I've described that eloquently enough so that I don't come off as fucking idiot or anything. No, not a great storyline. Could be better. Definitely had some a lack of foreshadowing, perhaps. I'm unsure, but regardless, terrible story. But could have had more work. Oh yeah, that's it. So I don't know. I can't exactly remember if this was on the game itself. I think it was. But you know when you're actually trying to fight something. Going back to the bosses again. But you know when you're actually trying to fight them. And swapping equipment has become more of a chore than anything else. Like, it's just done badly. Because it takes about, what, half a second at most for the menu to come up. And then you have to wait half a second again to be able to equip your weapon before you can shoot the enemy. And I don't know why it feels like that, honestly. It's so silly. And you know what's funny? When I played it on the Xbox, it just, I didn't care about it. Either that or I really didn't pay attention. But it's so alarming now. It slows down the gameplay and makes it a lot less enjoyable. I mean, this is quite a, you know, it's a big and it's a little issue, depending on how you want to think about this. However, I would say that it's pretty big, because if you're having to slow yourself down because the game is forcing you to, then it's just bad. I don't know whether it's because of, like, inefficient code or whatever, but it's silly. Like, why do I have to wait a tiny bit of time before the game can recognize that I'm actually going to equip a weapon, right? Because the menu should just appear straight away. Like, MGS2 did that well. MGS3 did that well. Like, just do that again. I think you already reached perfection. You know, it's not bad enough to warrant going ballistic over it, but it's there. It's very, very noticeable when you're trying to kill something and you're having a hard time switching weapons. It's not nearly as fluid as it could be. It's just, it doesn't feel right. But regardless, I would like the remake to, you know, sort that out. Just make sure it's maybe not there at all. That would be nice. More of a preference thing, but I don't know how many other people would feel like that. I'd say that's pretty important for me. But anyway, yeah, that's a small thing, I suppose. And of course, having a remake of Peace Walker would make everything like extra shiny. And I'm not talking about high resolution textures or anything. I would really hope they redid the models so they're not so polygonal. You know, you can't literally see the polygons that make up that snake's face, for example, and you think, oh my god, that looks horrendous. I mean, I would love to see Zeke looking literally amazing, because design-wise, it's really good. I just want it to just look menacing. I really do. I don't know exactly what I mean by that, but you know what I mean. It's just looking a lot better. Just looking a lot better, because obviously being on the HD collection, you can see that it's like, oh god, it's just a texture plastered onto a fucking sphere. It looks horrible. But you know, to have like the modern technology, like the fucking bump maps or whatever, or the diffusion textures, normal maps, whatever, and making the model just look more detailed would be really appreciated. Low priority, of course, but really appreciated. But yeah, I think those were the main points anyway, because I could go forever trying to explain how this game could be improved by Remake, but I don't think I should. Again, if you want me to like go into more depth about what I think about the game and what I think should be improved, feel free to contact me in the comments. I'm always available there. However, I will also link a few of these videos that I've seen as well, so that you can get a better idea of what I'm trying to grasp for as well. Again, I'm very likely not the first person to have mentioned any of this, but you know, and it's still, this video is still quite off the cuff. I've not had any notes to work with. It's quite spontaneous and stuff like that. So I'm mainly concerned about how well I've communicated my ideas and thoughts for this game to you. So if you just, you know, have any suggestions or whatever, want to communicate how brilliant you think I am, how much of a fucking genius I am or whatever, if you want to ask why I even exist, you can, right? Or if you just want to talk about the game in general, yeah, this is all based off of whether I've effectively told you what I think without confusing you. I don't know, but you know, you're free to critique me on that in the comments. But that's essentially all I've got for now. I don't want to go on too long about this because, again, I could get wrapped around my own tail about this topic specifically. But this was supposed to be a different Peace Walker video, as I said at the beginning, and I will be making that. It takes a bit of time. The thing I'm going to discuss is something about Zeke and about the way that you use Zeke. It's very, very vague, I know, but it's like, I don't know how well I'm going to communicate that idea either, so I'm not going to say too much about it, because I need time to make the video, to make sure that it's good enough, that I'm talking like about proper shit instead of just saying nothing, you know, that kind of bullshit. But anyway, yeah, I'm done with my rant. Hopefully you've enjoyed it somewhat. Quite different, I know, but I'm wanting to try something different, and it's been on my mind for a few days now, and again, Drekken's video finally did me in, finally made me make this video. I will link the specific video down in the description. You may as well go and have a look. I mean, what I found from that video was pretty interesting. I did agree with basically everything, so again, this is partly what inspired this, but I had the motivation. I wanted to make this sort of thing anyway. I just didn't really feel like I had a reason to until now. So yeah, any thoughts, put them down in the comments, and I will see you at some point.